Now in continuation, look at this question number 7, based on quadrilaterals. In the adjoining figure, you can see a figure here. In this adjoining figure, D, E, F are the midpoints of our sides BC, CA and AB, right? So D, E, F are the midpoints of the three sides of the triangle ABC, right? Now you have to show that angle EDF, okay, angle EDF is equal to angle A, right? Angle EDF is equal to angle A. You have to show this. Angle DEF, this one, is equal to angle B, this one. And angle DFE, this one, is equal to angle C, this one, right? So you have to show this within the figure, right? Okay. And it is given that DEF are the midpoints of the triangle, the sides of the triangle ABC. Okay. Now, how to do this question? Now, DE, right? DE will be parallel to BA, yes or no? DE will be parallel to BA. Why? By the midpoint theorem, right? What midpoint theorem says? That if a line joining the midpoints of the two sides of the triangle, that line will be parallel to the third side, yes or no? Right? So DE is the line joining the midpoints of the two sides of the triangle ABC, right? D and E are the midpoints of BC and AC, right? And this line joining means the line DE will be parallel to AB according to the midpoint theorem, right? Okay. So by midpoint theorem, we can say that DE is parallel to BA, right? By midpoint theorem. Right? And DE will be half of BA, right? According to the midpoint theorem, right? Because that line joining the midpoints of the two sides of the triangle will be parallel and equal to half of the third side, right? That means what? DE will be parallel to FA also, right? Because FA is the part of AB only, right? Since DE is parallel to BA, DE will also be parallel to FA. Getting that? Right? Okay. And DE is equal to FA, right? Why? Because F is the midpoint. F is the midpoint of AB. Now, since DE is equal to half of the line, that means the side AB, that means FA will be equal to DE. Yes or no? Right? Okay. So FA will be equal to DE, right? That means what? DEAF. Look at the figure. DEAF, this one. DEAF is a parallelogram, right? Why it is a parallelogram? DEAF is a parallelogram. Why? Because opposite sides are parallel and equal. These two opposite sides are parallel as well as equal, right? Therefore, DEAF, we have proved that this is a parallelogram. Now, so since this is a parallelogram, can we say that angle EDF, angle EDF, this one, will be equal to angle A, this one, right? Okay. Why? Because opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal in measurement, right? These are the opposite angles of a parallelogram, right? So angle EDF will be equal to angle A. Getting it? Okay. Similarly, angle DEF, this angle DEF will be equal to angle B, right? Again, we will prove that DEFB will be a parallelogram, and therefore the opposite angle will be equal, right? Okay, so in the same way, we can say that angle DEF will be equal to angle B, and angle DFE, right? Angle DFE, this one, will be equal to angle C. Why? Because we will prove that DFEC is a parallelogram. In the same way, we can prove that DFEC is a parallelogram, therefore opposite angle will be equal. Right? So in this way, we have proved that angle EDF is angle A, DEF is angle B, and DFE is angle C. So I hope you are getting it. So just note it down. Now look at this another question number 8. In the adjoining figure, in this figure, as you can see here, ABCD and PQRC are the rectangles. Okay, ABCD is the bigger one, and PQRC is this a smaller one, right? Where Q is the midpoint of AC, right? So this Q is the midpoint of this diagonal, right? AC. Now, what do you have to prove that? You have to prove that DP is equals to PC. Okay, means DP and PC are equal. And PR, okay, is equal to, means if there is some line PR, right, then this is equal to half of AC. Okay, so these two things you have to prove here, right, within the question. Now let's see how to do this. So very first, what is given here, right? Since these two figures are rectangles, right? Okay, it is already given here. So can we say that angle CRQ, okay, this angle CRQ is equal to angle CBA, means this one is equals to 90 degree, right? They are right angles, right? Angle of the rectangles are right angle, right? Okay, they are right angle. That means QR is parallel to AB, right? That means what? QR is parallel to AB, right? Why? QR is parallel to AB? Because Q is the midpoint. Is that clear? Q is the midpoint, right? Okay. And this QR, right? This is 90 degree. This is also 90 degree. That means both the sides AB and QR of the two rectangles must be parallel, right? And then only this angle can be 90 degree. These are corresponding pair of angles and they are same. They are 90 degree, right? So we can say that QR is parallel to AB, right? Okay. Now, in triangle ABC, the right angle triangle, Q is the midpoint. Q is the midpoint of AC. Yes or no? Q is the midpoint of AC, right? And QR is parallel to AB, right? So Q is the midpoint of AC within this triangle and QR is parallel to AB. That means what? By midpoint theorem, R is the midpoint of, R will be the midpoint of BC. Yes or no? Right? So this is the converse of midpoint theorem, that if we draw a line from a midpoint of a side of a triangle, right, parallel to the another side, right, parallel to the second side, then it meets at a point R, which will be the midpoint of the third side, right? So R will be the midpoint of the third side. So this is the converse of midpoint theorem. Therefore, we can say that R is the midpoint of BC. That means BR is equals to RC, right? Since BR is the midpoint, BR and RC are same. Getting that? Okay. Now, in the same way, if we assume that another triangle ADC, in triangle ADC, right? Okay. Q is the midpoint. Q is the midpoint of AC, right? And QP is parallel to AD, right? QP is parallel to AD. Getting that? QP is parallel to AD. Then again by midpoint theorem, we can say that P is the midpoint of the third side, the midpoint theorem. midpoint of P is the midpoint of DC, right? Exactly in the same way, we can prove that P is the midpoint of DC. Getting it? Okay. That means DP is equals to PC, right? Okay. Now, in triangle CDB, right? Look at the triangle CD and B. CDB, you can draw a line here, joining A and B. Okay. So we have joined D and B. Now, look at the triangle CDB, right? Now, in CDB, we have already proved that P is the midpoint of the line segment DC, right? And R is the midpoint of BC. Getting that? Okay. Then can we draw a line parallel? Can we join P and R? Right? If we join P and R like this, right? Okay. Then this will be parallel to the third side, that is DB, and half of it. Getting it? Okay. So we have also proved this also, right? So write down. So this is the first part of the question which we have done. DP is equal to PC. Now in triangle CDB, P is the midpoint of DC and R is the midpoint of BC, right? So therefore, by midpoint theorem, we can say that PR is parallel to DB and PR will be parallel to half of DB, right? And since DB and AC are equal, right? DB and AC are equal, right? We can also say that PR is equal to half of AC, right? Why? Because AC is equals to DB, right? Okay. Diagonals of the diagonals of the rectangle are equal in length, right? So DB is the another diagonal of the rectangle, right? So it will be equal to the length of the other diagonal AC, right? Okay, so we can say that PR is half of AC. Is that clear? Yes, sir. So in this way, we have proved both of them, right? So now please note it down. Now look at this question number 9. In the adjoining figure, ABCD is a parallelogram, right? So here, this is a parallelogram, ABCD, in which angle BAD is 75 degree, this is 75, and CBD is 60 degree. Okay, these two angles are already given, and it is given that ABCD is a parallelogram. Now you have to find angle BDC. You have to find this angle. Okay, this one. Now, how to do this question? Since it is already given that ABCD is a parallelogram. Okay, ABCD is a parallelogram. So now for this, you should know what are the properties of the parallelogram, right? So for a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal, yes or no? Okay, so if angle A is 75 degree, angle C will also be 75 degree. These are the opposite angles. Getting that? So angle C will be equal to angle A is equals to 75 degree, right? Why? Opposite angles of, always write down like what reason you are using. Opposite angles of a parallelogram, right? These are the opposite angles, right? So angle C will also be 75 degree. Now look at this triangle BCD, this triangle, right? The triangle BCD. Now in this triangle, in triangle BCD, okay, as we know that the angle sum property of a triangle is that sum of all the angles is 180 degree, right? So angle CBD plus angle BCD plus angle BDC. This should be equal to 180 degree. Meant this plus this and this. These should be 180 degree, right? So one angle is already given in the question, right? This is 60 degree. This we have already got, like this is 75 degree. So now you can easily find the third angle of the triangle, right? Okay. So you can find out. So this is CBD is 60 degree, BCD 75 degree plus BDC, which you have to find, is equal to 180 degree, right? That is 135 degree plus angle BDC is equals to 180 degree. Okay. So now angle BDC will be equal to 180 degree minus 135 degree. That is 45 degree, right? So in this way, we have got the angle, the third angle of this triangle, angle BDC, which is 45 degree. So in this way, we have got this angle, which is 45 degree. So I hope you are getting it. Yes or no? Okay. Now look at this next question, question number 10. In the given figure, as you can see a figure here, ABC is a triangle. AD is the median of this triangle ABC, right? So this line AD, this is the median of the triangle ABC, and E, this point E, is the midpoint of AD, the median AD, okay? Now, if you join B and E, right, and produced to meet AC, it will meet at point F, right? Okay. So E is the midpoint of the median E, median AD, okay? And if we join B and E, then, and if we produce it line, this line, it will meet AC in F. Now you have to find out what will be the value of AF among these four options. Okay, AF is half of AC, it is 1/3 of AC, 2/3 of AC, or 3/4 of AC, right? So this we have to do. Now, how to solve this question? Now, suppose G is the midpoint of FC, okay, right? So we have taken a point here. Suppose G, this is G, and G is the midpoint of FC, right? So right now, let G be the midpoint of FC, right? And now join D and G, okay? Join D and G. So this will be like, okay, right? Join D and G, okay? Now look at the triangle BCF. Can you see a triangle here? BCF, this one, a triangle BCF, right? Okay. So in triangle BCF, what we have? D is the midpoint. D is the midpoint of BC because AD is the median, right? And G is the midpoint. G is the midpoint of FC. We have done by construction, right? So D is the midpoint of BC and G is the midpoint of FC within this triangle BCF, right? So can we say that the line DG, this one, is parallel to BF, right? It is parallel to BF and will also be parallel to EF, right? BF and EF are the part of the same line, right? So we can say that by the midpoint theorem, DG will be parallel to BF, right? So write down DG is parallel to BF. That means DG is parallel to EF also, right? So DG and EF are parallel. Getting that? Okay. Now consider the triangle ADG, right? Okay. Consider the triangle ADG, this one. Consider the triangle ADG. Okay. Consider the triangle ADG in triangle ADG, right? Now in this triangle, E is the midpoint of AD, already given in the question. Okay. and EF, this line segment is parallel to DG, right? Then by midpoint theorem, converse of midpoint theorem, F will also be the midpoint of AG, right? Okay, F will also be the midpoint of AG, right? By the midpoint theorem, converse of midpoint theorem. So write down in triangle ADG, E is the midpoint of AD, right? And EF is parallel to DG. Okay, so we already have the converse of midpoint theorem, right? Okay, so according to this, we can say that F is the midpoint of AG, right? By converse of midpoint theorem, right? So what is the converse of midpoint theorem? In a triangle, if there is a line drawn, right? If there is a line drawn from a midpoint of a side of a triangle parallel to the second side will meet the third side at its midpoint or bisect the third side. So this is the converse of the midpoint theorem, right? So from this we can say that F will also be the midpoint of AG. So therefore we can say that AF will be equal to FG. Okay, AF will be equal to FG, right? Okay, and since G we have already taken the midpoint of FC, that means FG will be equal to GC, right? Okay, so all these three segments are equal in length. So write down AF is equal to FG and FG is equal to GC because G is the midpoint. G is the midpoint of FC, right? Okay, so can we say that AF, because we have divided this whole AC into three equal parts, can we say that AF is equals to 1/3 of AC? Yes or no? Right? Okay. So which option is correct among this? That AF is 1/3 of AC. So the B option is correct from these. Okay. Okay. So what is the right answer? Therefore, B is the correct answer. Okay. So in this way, we have got that AF is 1/3 of AC. So I hope you have understood this.